You're listening to Seattle Real Estate Podcast.
Seattle Mayor Durkin, she's one and done. She's just going to do one term as mayor. And the mayoral candidates for mayor, they are emphasizing outreach in addressing Seattle's homeless problem. We need to do more outreach. We need to do laser-focused outreach. Meanwhile, when we're talking and reimagining and rethinking outreach, we've got stories like this. This is a good one I'm going to share with you. A man killed in violent brawl at homeless camp as couple speeds off with baby in car. Whew, this is a good one. This is a crazy story. Before we get into this, and why are we talking about this on a real estate podcast? This is about public safety. And leadership in the city of Seattle has just let this go. And the laws are such that even when homeless people do what homeless people do a lot of the time, which is stuff just not really thinking, maybe they're looking for their next fix, they're going to sell something, which is what part of what we'll talk about here. That stuff goes on. They know nothing's going to happen to them. There's no repercussions for their actions. So why wouldn't they get into a big brawl at the homeless encampment over a Bluetooth speaker and a pair of shoes and said payment for those items? Why wouldn't somebody get killed? That's just what's going on here in Seattle. And this is not limited to just Seattle. I mean, this is anywhere you've got a large homeless encampment population. And during the era of the Rona was the CDC saying, you can't sweep them out. It's just gotten worse. And this one's a good one. So before we get into it, if you're new here, my name is Sean Reynolds. I own a couple of real estate companies. I own a real estate brokerage and an appraisal company. But more importantly, I read the news that hopefully you want to hear. All right, so stick with me here. All right, so we're going to read this article about this incident that happened that is just, flat out nuts. New surveillance pictures captured a violent brawl at a homeless encampment that ended with one man getting hit and killed as a driver tried to speed away with a 2-week-old baby in the car. All right, maybe square away the baby somewhere else other than taking it into a known violent situation and environment where this literally happened. Maybe, but we're not dealing with normal folks here, right? You got somebody, in my opinion, when I first heard this story and checked this story out with some folks that are kind of down in that area and know these storylines, I was told that this was, they were trying to repossess some stolen goods from their home or from their car. And now it looks more like it was a business deal. They were selling some shoes and a Bluetooth speaker for money, or they were buying it, not really sure. And then the deal went south and it just exploded. So 2 men from the homeless encampment are behind bars facing charges. They are multiple times convicted felons. It is not shocking to know that, right? Charging documents mentioned a car prowler that led a couple to that encampment looking for their stolen items. That doesn't seem like, now that we know a little bit more, that doesn't seem like that's the truth. Randy, a man staying at that camp who I watched talk, said that that's not what happened. He said it was a sale and the driver tried running off with the goods before he paid for said goods. Images show the fight that broke out last week. One man was armed with a large wooden pole. It's like 5 foot long wooden pole. He's just bashing on this car. Another slamming the car with a machete to the front of the car. Hey, go get your machete. We're going to end this now. Whoosh, right to the car. This is nuts. I knew that it wasn't going to end good, Randy said. Randy, I am with you on this one. It did not end well. One of the residents there just didn't make it out of this. And this is somebody who's just standing around, right? The couple in the car came back to take back a stolen pair of shoes and a Bluetooth speaker, according to court documents. That's when things went sideways and took a violent turn. The couple tried to leave with their 2-week-old baby in the back seat. The driver hit the gas, hitting and killing a man who lived at the camp. Videos from that night shows the police response, including Interim Chief Adrian Diaz. He showed up on site. He was a good man, Randy said. He was smart, talking about the guy that got killed. As Randy put in this week, it was a business transaction rather than someone coming back for something that was stolen. In the end, 2 men from the camp were arrested days later. The pair were convicted felons with lengthy criminal records. They're now facing assault charges. They'll get out. You know what? We have faith in you. We have faith that you're going to do better next time. Here's a very minor slap on the wrist. You guys really need to square away your activity because it's not looking good for you guys. You guys are on a life of crime, and you need to really rethink and reimagine your life priorities. That's what's going to happen to them. By the way, have a nice day. Free sandwich on the way out. Good luck with that. The driver was not being charged. The King County Prosecutor's Office said charges were not recommended by the Seattle Police Department. It's just a deal gone sideways, and somebody ends up dead. Nuts. The 2 men arrested will be arraigned a little less than 2 weeks from now. I'll be really curious to know what happens to them. What is their punishment? Probably nothing, right? Okay, so this went on at homeless encampment right next to the King County Courthouse. We're not sure if the guy was from there. A guy that had been let out of jail for a 21-month sentence tried to rape a 7-month pregnant woman who is a defense attorney in the King County Courthouse. You've got that kind of stuff going on. And that individual who was charged with the attempted rape, he tried to proposition one of the detectives questioning him for sex later on that day while in custody. So you've got people that are they are not dealing with their full mental capabilities because they don't have them, or they're just so strung out on drugs. They're doing this kind of stuff. In the meantime, Durkin and the candidates for mayor, they emphasize outreach in addressing Seattle's homeless problem. Now, I know they got to do something, but it's just such a contradiction. You've got this wildly violent environments throughout Seattle. So the homeless encampment where the couple comes in with their 2-week-old baby and they're looking for their stuff or they're selling their stuff. Who really knows? That's on Mercer and what's the cross street? I want to say Denny. I don't think that's right. It's right in downtown Seattle. I mean, it's on the main street you get off of I-5 to go into downtown Seattle on the north end. It's a homeless encampment. It's got like 50 tents. It's a big encampment. And it's been there for a long time. And it's, Space Needle is right in the background. A lot of the photos here. I mean, you just got this contradiction of, there's the Space Needle and all the great tourism and stuff, but I'll watch out for the person that got run over and killed in the homeless encampment while a, deal to fund a drug deal is going down. So following the violent brawl at a South Lake Union homeless encampment last week, the city's current mayor and one of the candidates vying to replace her said outreach is critical in getting them off the streets and to the help they need. Como News Thursday reached out to Mayor Jenny Durkin along with 2 frontrunners looking to take her seat because she's one and done. She's not going back for re-election. Current City Council President M. Lorena Gonzalez currently trails former Council President Bruce Harrell by roughly 8%, according to the latest numbers from King County elections. She said laser-focused outreach for people's specific needs is key to rapid rehousing. Actually, in this instance, I tend to agree with her. All right, that's part of what is needed. But you need to clear out some of these homeless encampments and do something and on the spot. You need to break them down into smaller encampments. I don't know. You got to do something. This kind of stuff is just crazy. King County is in the process of buying up like hotels and motels and housing people there. But they just don't have enough units to get people out of the streets. And just a structure over somebody's head doesn't mean that their drug addiction goes away. It doesn't mean that their mental stuff goes away that leads them to this kind of behavior. It's still there. Their problems chase them around. So are we going to have the services to help these folks? We don't so far. I don't know. The reality is that right now we don't have adequate places to offer people to come inside, Gonzalez said. And some of these folks, they don't want to go inside. The felons that have been arrested here on the the machete bashing on the car. Bet you they don't want to go inside. Bet you they don't want to take housing. No. People don't refuse housing because they want to continue to be homeless. They refuse housing because we have offered them something that is inadequate for the needs that they are communicating to us need to be met. All right. That is some double speak that to me is kind of nonsense. All right. Do you want to be inside or do you want to be outside? Do you want to get help or not? Not, all right, that doesn't really meet my needs. Here's what I need. Look, you're homeless. You've got issues. You got something going on. You need to take whatever help is offered to you. And clearly, they're not getting that. They're not getting help at all because they're brawling like this. And, I don't know if there is a solution for this. This is just where we sit with the laws we have on the books. And, open use of drugs is just totally A-okay. It's fine. In fact, here's a clean needle for your old one. It's all right. We seem to be okay with that. So putting these folks in a house, housing, roof over their head, is that going to really change it? We're going to have to find out, but I don't have great faith in that, right? When it comes to investments made in housing and shelter spaces, Gonzalez said more should have been done over the last year, taking aim at Durkin's administration. The issue has been the CDC said no more sweeps of homeless encampments because it'll further spread the Rona. I think that was some nonsense because is there any data saying that that's the case? We don't know. We've just lived with it, along with the CDC saying just ridiculous stuff about the eviction moratorium, which, per the Supreme Court, wasn't exactly legal, right? I am tired of waiting for a mayor to implement those investments, Gonzalez said. That's why we need in the next mayor is a mayor who is not only going to identify adequate resources to increase the capacity, but who is serious about quickly implementing those dollars rapidly to rehouse the people who desperately need housing right now. Alrighty then, but you're already on the city council, and look at how well that is going. We tried to defund the police and we're pretty worked up about that. And the homelessness situation is just wildly out of control and you're on the city council. So what's the dealio there, right? On top of the current problem, Gonzalez knows there are more bubbling beneath the surface. It's why she said the root cause of homelessness must be better funded. And that does also include addressing our broken mental health and behavioral health and substance use disorder treatment, Gonzalez said. I agree. A lot of these folks, we dumped out all our mental institutions. Here's what you get. It's what you get. We don't send anybody to jail anymore. We just give them a slap on the wrist and hope that they do better for humanity next time. And that isn't always the case, is it? There are some successful cases coming out of homeless encampments. There's a lot that aren't. That's what we're dealing with here. As for Bruce Harrell, he is leading. He's a business guy. Interesting. His campaign referred Como News to a press conference and statements he made more than 2 months ago in regards to the encampment near Broadview Thompson. There's a homeless encampment next to a kindergarten through 8th grade school. And they've had some interesting stuff going on. They got prostitutes coming in and out. They're selling drugs. They've had what they thought was a gun deal. It turned out to be a BB gun. They've had a homeless person go inside the school and try and steal a backpack and didn't make it out. Naked guy that's overdosing gets hauled out and kids watch it out the window of the school. Hey, what's going on there? What's happening? What's happening there? Things that elementary kids, even 8th graders, shouldn't be seeing. Adults shouldn't be seeing that, especially from their learning environment. Those are not the lessons they need to be learning. And unfortunately, Seattle public school system, where the homeless encampment is on the grounds of, they're like, we don't believe in sweeps. We think they're inhumane. All right, so you're going to let your kids watch this nonsense go on, and that's humane? I don't think so. So Bruce Harrell, he touched on the personal responsibility the mayor has to fix what's going on. Personal responsibility. I'm down with that. I will take ownership of the issue, Harrell said. They are failing. Their policies are failing, he added, referring to Mayor Durkin and the city council. They are failing. I mean, they have failed. It has failed. It is broken. Harrell has thrown his support behind what's become a controversial item that will be on the ballot in November called Compassion Seattle, which was set up by, you got it, business owners. People actually looking to do something instead of talking about it. The charter amendment, if approved by voters, would force the mayor to create 2,000 shelter or housing spaces within a year and direct 12% of the general fund to homelessness and human services. And if there are spaces open for people, if they don't accept that, they get swept. That's how it goes. And that's how you keep the public spaces that are supposed to be public and available for use by the tax-paying residents. That's how you keep those areas free of the encampments. People don't like that. They're just saying, a sweep is a sweep. All right. But you can't have this stuff going on in our public parks and just on streets. It's not acceptable. People sometimes don't even know they need help, Harrell said at a media briefing attended by neighbors and those living at the camp near the school. Their refusal could mean they haven't acknowledged the extent of their problem. They're crazy and they're addicted to drugs, which is just like being crazy, not making good mental decisions, not making decisions at all. Yeah, they're making decisions to go out and get their next fix, but that's more of a reaction than a decision. With the current leadership, Mayor Durkin's office said in regards to the encampment at Mercer and Dexter, where we had this violent brawl resulting in somebody's death because they got run over because of people speeding out of the encampment because an angry mob was beating on the car. So that's Mercer and Dexter. They said that the HOPE team, which is an outreach team, did an assessment in mid-June, and that REACH, another organization, helped to place 3 people in hotel rooms. In a statement, her office said, all right, so out of the 50 tents, you got 3 helped out. That's good. But how about the people living in the tents there still that are bashing on this couple's car? Now, I'm not saying this couple is innocent. They probably tried to sneak off with a Bluetooth speaker and a pair of used shoes, and they basically risked their lives and the life of their 2-week-old infant over the sale of these or whatever it was, right? So we're dealing with people who are not working on a full deck of cards. So here's what the mayor says. Currently, there is not an encampment removal scheduled, but the city and county are opening additional spaces this summer and fall to increase the number of individuals moved inside into safer spaces. All right, so what are we doing right now? Nothing. We're talking about it. And I recognize that they are doing stuff, that it takes a while, but right now you've got this stuff going on because nobody's doing anything. These things should be swept out. Clear them out. Clear them out. Where do those people go? Well, for right now, you put as many away in whatever shelters you've got. But these big encampments, you got to do something, especially next to the courthouse. That one's got to go for sure. That one's got to go for sure. The one next to the elementary school, that one's got to go for sure. And this one where they're selling stuff, either buying or selling stuff, that's got to go. That's got to go. Just sweep it. Get it out of there. Break it down. But it doesn't seem like that's happening, does it? No, it just keeps on going. So while we're reimagining and rethinking, some young homeless man, his life is ended because somebody ran over him or hit him with the car, and now he's dead. That sucks. That kid will never get to go to rehab or whatever it is he's got going on that, landed him there. Super sad. Super sad. But you got to start dealing with this stuff. So let's see if Bruce Harrell can, if he gets elected, maybe that'll happen. Maybe he will vote, he'll get the whole Compassion Seattle thing going. Be a big change up. I don't know. Seattle's a crazy city. We elected these officials into place that have put these policies in place. Crazy. Cool Space Needle? Yeah, a little violent. Nutty. All right, that's it for me on this one. Yeah, this story is going to keep on going because this one's got some legs to it. Because with us doing basically nothing right now, you're going to have more stories like this. And then we're going to talk about laser focus on the issue. That's more than reimagining and rethinking. It's laser focus, but still, you know what I mean? It's crazy, right? Okay, that's it for me. We'll catch up soon. Until then, stay safe. We'll talk then. Bye for now. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell so you'll know when our next video is out.